Hi, in this video I'll be going over migrating from WordPress MU for Joomla to the new WordPress 3.0 for Joomla. Now this process is a little bit complicated and long, so there's really two ways to migrate, and I recommend you go for the easiest way, although it could be a little more tedious if you have a lot of blogs set up. In either way, before you start any of the migrations, I highly recommend that you back up all of your files and your database, just in case something goes wrong and you have to revert. At the same time, you can hire us to do the migration for you, and you can contact us on that. Now, the easier way to do the migration is by just simply using the WordPress's import and export tools. And those tools are located, and I'm going to show you right now. And right now I only have WordPress MU installed, but I'll go over my setup in a little bit. And here are under tools, there's export, and then you can do all authors. But you'll have to do an export for every blog that you have. So if you have 50 blogs, you'll have to do 50 exports, and then you'll have to create each blog on the new WordPress 3.0 for Joomla, and then import all of, well, actually you'll have to create the user as well, and then you can do the import for each blog. So that can get a little bit complicated and a little bit tedious as well. The second option for the migration is a little bit technical, but I do document everything here, and you'll see everything that I'm doing. So if you have any questions, hopefully you'll be able to just look at what I'm doing and just replicate it on your system. But it does require understanding FTP, renaming folders, moving files around, and as well as doing some database queries. Now the queries you don't have to build yourself. I will be giving you the queries. You just have to run them on your database, but you need to know how to do that. And there's also some editing of some fields, but again, I'll be showing you, and you can do those. So in reality, the more technical way of the migration is better, but if you're afraid to do that, then you can use the import export tools. Alright, so let's get started. I'm just going to show you what I have set up here. I'm not using SEF URLs, and I have a menu item for the blogs, and I have two blogs set up, and I'll show you that here. I have just the main blog and a test blog. Okay, and each blog has two posts. One of them is the Hello World post, and then another one has an image on it. So you can see an image here, and then Hello World, and another image here. Okay, and this is important in a little bit in the future, because we will have to download this uploads folder, and we'll have to re-upload it at a later time. Okay, to make sure that all of the media is preserved. Okay, so before we get started, as I said, I don't have SEF URLs turned on, but WordPress 3.0 for Joomla does require the use of SEF URLs as well as mod rewrite to be turned on inside of Joomla. Okay. Before we get started, I also recommend that you make your site offline, as well as I recommend you go through this whole video at least once before you even dive into it, so you know what you're getting into. Okay. So let's enable SEF URLs. To do that, I have to go under the global configuration, and I have to select yes to these two items. Now the second item is required as well, and mod rewrite. To completely enable mod rewrite, you have to go to an FTP program. In this case, I have Transmit. This is the FTP program that I use to connect to my FTP site. And here you can see, here's just the root of my Joomla website. All of the Joomla core files are here, as well as the WordPress component folders here. Under components, WPMU, you can see everything is here. So to complete this enabling of mod rewrite, you have to find this htaccess.txt file, and you need to rename it to read .htaccess. Okay, so period htaccess. Once you've done that, the SEF URLs will start working, and you need to save your global configuration. Alright, now that SEF URLs are enabled, we just need to back up your media folder in WordPress MU. So I'm going back to Transmit, my FTP program, and I am going to go under Components from the root of my Joomla site, then com_WPMU, and then the WP-content folder, and then there will be a uploads folder if there has been any uploads to any of the blogs. So this uploads folder, you just need to drag and drop it to your desktop and just wait for it to download. Just keep it there. We will use it at a later point in time. But once you're done with that, we are ready to get started on this migration. So you'll need to uninstall the WordPress MU component. So I'm uninstalling it, it's gone now. Okay. And then what I will be doing now is installing the new WordPress 3.0 for Joomla. And this will come in a pack in a component name such as com_WordPress_3. Whatever version it is. In this case it's 3.0.1. And installing the component always takes a little bit longer, just because it's a 4 meg file. You may have to install it through one of the other options that Joomla gives you, such as from directory or install from URL. So we'll just wait here for a little bit while it's done. Okay. Once that is done, we need to install 2 plugins. And these will come in the package that you'll download from our website. One is an authentication plugin, and the other one is a user plugin. Now, before going to the WordPress component right here, I need to enable these 2 plugins. Oops. So the authentication plugin I'm enabling, and I also need to enable the user plugin right here. Okay. So at this point, WordPress 3.0 is installed, but since we're doing our migration, we need to do a few things before we actually visit the WordPress component. And I'm going back to Transmit, okay? And I'm going to go under the Components folder, from going from the root of my Joomla site. And I'm going to refresh this folder now. You see that changed from com.wpmu to com.wordpress. And now all of the WordPress core files are located inside this WP folder. Okay. The file that you will have to edit is this wp-config file. So you'll want to double click it. And if you scroll down, you will find where it reads define WPJ database prefix. Okay. Now, by default, WordPress has the database of WP_. Okay. And I am going to bring up my database here and just here's my database. Okay. And what needs to happen now, and just to show you, this is normally how WordPress MU database looks like. You get JOS_WPMU_1_ and then all the table names for each blog. So you have blog ID 1, blog ID 2, and then you have some other miscellaneous tables, but they all are prefixed with WPMU_, and then the JOS_ is just your Joomla prefix. So Uh, that could vary between my installation to your installation. Okay. So once we have this set up, we need to rename two tables. We need to rename this JOS WPMU user meta table and this WPMU users table. Okay, so I clicked on that table to browse it. So I'm browsing this table, and then I'm going to click on operations. And by the way, I'm in PHP This allows me to just a visual way of viewing the database. But if you're used to command line, you can use command line. But either way, we need to rename this table to WPMU _1 user metadata. So I save that, and then I go back to viewing all my tables. And now I have to rename this users table. So I click on operations again, and I rename it to JOS WPMU1 users. Okay. Once that is all said and done, and just for you to understand what we're really doing right now, is we're tricking WordPress into thinking that it's only a single blog install, just at the moment. That's all we need to do, because we need to run a plugin that we've created / modified from somebody else that will automatically rename all these tables. So if you have 50 blogs, it'll rename all the tables, as well as it'll make a lot of changes inside each one of the tables, so that it works and it's ready for WordPress 3.0. Okay. Now we have a few database queries that I need you to run, and these database queries are going to be documented on the documentation file that will come with the extension. The first one that you'll need to run is this one. It'll be the first one on the documentation. And essentially, we are replacing a few options under this meta table, so that WordPress recognizes that I am an administrator and I have the ability to do anything I want. So right now I'm under structure, viewing all of the tables. I need to go under SQL, and I'm just going to paste this query. And just remember, the prefix for Joomla may change from my installation to yours. So it could say MOS, it could have just a bunch of numbers. You'll have to figure that out on your own. And an easy way to just figure it out is by viewing all the table names and just looking at that first prefix. Okay, but mine is JOS. That's pretty standard, normally what most people have. But either way, I paste that in, I run this query, and now it tells me, well, 2 rows were affected. Okay, that's great. Next, what I need to do is, well, I basically can finally go and visit WordPress now, and it should recognize me as oh, I forgot to do one last thing. I'm going back to transmit, and you know how I opened this config file. If you for some reason closed it, you can open it again, but I still have it open. Now this WordPress Joomla database prefix I need to rename to WPMU _1 _. And that's how we're tricking WordPress that we only have a single blog install, and that's why we just renamed all of those database tables and ran that database query. Okay, so once you've done that, I'm going to go back. Sorry for I skipped a step there. So now I can click on WordPress, and it's going to tell me, hey, this is a new version of WordPress. We need to upgrade your database. You can click on upgrade, that's fine. And then you can continue. And now WordPress loads. But again, it's just a single blog. You don't have this site admin menu that you used to have before. pretty standard. Now the next thing that you'll need to do is you'll need to download the upgrade or the migration plugin from our website. It'll be under the download section of WordPress 3.0 under a section called migration. Okay, and this plugin is going to be called Prefix Changer. I already have it on my desktop. And what you'll need to do is you'll need to upload this file inside your plugins folder. So from the root of your Joomla site through your FTP application, you go under components, com_WordPress, WP, WP-content, and then plugins. Okay, from here, I'm just going to drag and drop it from my desktop since I already have it here. And you drop it inside that plugins folder. Now you can see Prefix Changer. Okay. Now I can go in my Joomla on my WordPress dashboard, go to plugins. And now I see this WP table prefix changer, and I can activate it. And a new menu is going to pop up right under editor. So I click on prefix changer, and then I simply click on start renaming. Again, it does a lot of things in the background. It renames a lot of tables, and you really should see everything as success. If you see any errors, you may still go through the upgrade, the migration process, but there may be something that won't work. So you may be better off reverting back to your backup and contacting us. Okay, so but more than likely it'll say success, and you'll see that everything's set up correctly. So now I'm going to go back and just look at my database just to show you what it's done. And now you remember we had JOS_WPMU, but now it got renamed to just WP. And all of the WPMU_1 tables got renamed to just WP. Okay, so and you can see all these tables right here. Okay, so now that we have that all set up, we go back to our configuration file, and again I already have it open. If you closed it, you need to open it again from your file system, and I can now rename this back to what it was before, WP_. So I'm going to save this, and I go back to my WordPress dashboard, and I'm just simply going to click on dashboard right now. As you can see, everything's still working. And now what we need to do is enable WordPress multi-site. So to do that, you need to go under Settings, General, and there's an option towards the bottom to enable multi-site. You can click on Yes, and then you save your changes. Now WordPress will redirect you and will think that you already have a multi-site installed, because in essence you have already those database tables in the database. So it's going to give you this page. It's not going to prompt you to go through the process of installing multi-site the normal way. So what we'll need to do is a few things. First, we need to run a few more database queries. I'm going to bring up this right here, and essentially you'll just copy the next two database queries, and on this, again, on this document that we're going to be providing for the documentation, I'm going to have all these step-by-step just bulletins. Just make sure that that you're following everything, and I'll put at which point you need to run which queries, so that it is easier on you. So I'm running this query, and I'm sorry, I got a little bit ahead of myself. This query essentially tells WordPress that my new multi-site is installed inside the blogs directory. What this means is that all of the blogs will be accessed to through dev.joompressblog.com/blogs. If you want it to say community, and then say your blog name is Sally, then you type in community for this database query that we just ran instead of blogs. So you could type community in there, and then you run your query. I already ran it, but I already had it set up for blogs, so I kind of got a little bit ahead of myself there. And just remember what you type in here, because we're going to be using that name here in a little bit again. And then the next query that I need to run is this one. And again, dev.joompressblog.com/whatever you want. So if it is community, you type community. In my case, it's blogs. And again, here's the prefix that you may have to change if your Joomla prefix is different. But that's all good for me. I run that and okay. Now the next thing to do is upload all of the WordPress files to this new directory that you picked. So in my case, I picked the directory blogs, and I have already uploaded all files, but I'm just going to show you how it would be done. So I'm going to create a new folder right here called blogs. And in essence, what you'll be doing is you'll be uploading all of the WordPress files. For example, this is the file that you uploaded to install WordPress 3.0 for Joomla. That is the component zip file. If you unzip it inside just your local host, your computer, there is a folder inside of this called site. And then there's a folder called WP, and it's probably looking a little bit familiar for you. And then here are all of the WordPress core files. What you will be doing is you will be copying, well, essentially just uploading all of these files into this new folder that you created right here. But I have already done this because I don't want to have you waiting here for 5-10 minutes while this uploads. So I am going to just drag and drop them from my blogs temp folder to this new blogs folder. So the server is just moving everything on its own, and then it's done. Okay. Now there's a few steps that you need to take after you've uploaded all of the files. Actually it's only 2 steps. So step number 1 is this ms-index.php needs to be renamed to just index.php. And then inside the wp-content folder, there's a folder called multi-site. Now this folder just contains this every home template. Just drag and drop this every home template inside this themes folder. It simply just needs to be moved. Okay. So once you have moved it, you need to go back to your database, and there's a few things that we need to change. And here's where it could get a little bit tedious for you if you have a lot of blogs. You'll need to find the database table called jos_wp_blogs and simply browse that. What you will need to do is edit every single one of these rows. So I'm going to edit just the 2 that I have because I only have 2 blogs. And you need to prefix the path for every row, for every blog with the folder that you picked. So for example, I picked the folder blogs. I type in blogs in here. So I did it for blog ID 1, then I'm going to blog ID 2, and the path is test, so I need to prefix it with blogs. And make sure you have a / at the beginning, a / at the end, and a / separating the blog path and the original path of that blog. So once you have that done, you need to commit your changes, basically do an update. And then I am going to go back to viewing all of my database tables. And then you need to find the database table called JOS WP site. You will have to browse that table, and there will more than likely only be one row in here. So you'll have to edit this row. And again, you type in the path to your installation. In my case, it's /blogs/. Then I save that. And now multi-site is basically set up at this point. There's a few more things that we need to do, but right before you're able to start using it, you need to edit this wp-config.php file that is inside the new directory that you just uploaded. So I am going to edit this wp-config file, and note that the one that we were editing earlier is different to the one that I have open now. It's in a different directory. So I'm going to close this old one that I had open, and now this new one that I have open, you need to scroll down and you need to find, well, actually I already had all this, so I apologize. You need to find where it reads, "That's all, stop editing, happy blogging." And you will need to copy this define WP allow multi-site and true. Again, this will be in the documentation. Once you have copied and pasted that there, you can save it. And then you will manually have to go to your new directory that you have installed. So in my case, it's blogs. So dapp.joompressblog.com/blogs/wp-admin. And now my blogs are set up. To complete the installation of my multi-site, I need to go under Tools, Network, and now it's giving me the correct information as to what I need to do. So you'll essentially just have to follow through these instructions. They're pretty straightforward. And this is the content that I had on my wp-config file before, just because I was doing some testing before I started this video. So I'm going to delete this line that I just added. I'm going to replace it with the contents of this text area. Once you're done with that, you can save it. And then the next step is to create a .htaccess file inside this new blogs directory. So again, under blogs, I create a new file called .htaccess. It's the same type of file that's in your root of Joomla, but it has different content. So I open it through my FTP program, and then I paste the contents that WordPress is giving me to this text area. I save it. And then the last thing that it asks me to do is to log in. So I click on login, and then in essence it'll log me in right away, or you may have to re-log in. But now you get the super admin menu. And you can see that you have all of your blogs excuse me, set up. But if I look at the home page of my blogs, well, and you also see this new 2010 theme, but you do not see the image that I had in here. And I'm actually going to enable the every home template here. To complete the installation, you will need to upload the contents of that upload folder to, and I'm going back again through FTP. You'll have to go to the root of your Joomla site and go to components, and you'll have to create a new folder called com.wpmu. Then you'll have to create a folder inside of that folder called wp-content, and then in there you'll be able to upload this new or the uploads folder that you used to have. Okay. So once all of your uploads folders, upload files are uploaded, I'm going to visit the homepage of my blogs. And now you'll see those images are popping up there again. Now, in the future, when new media files are uploaded, they won't go into this uploads folder. This is just so the previous ones would work, but now all of your uploads will be going under your blogs or whatever you picked. WP-content, uploads, and everything will start going in here. Okay. To simply complete the install, you can change the menu item. In Joomla, you can change that blogs menu item or whatever menu item you used to have. But you'll have to edit that blogs menu item, and you need to change the type to WordPress. And you need to make sure that this title matches the folder name that you have picked. So for example, mine is blogs, and matches this blogs folder name. Okay. So then I'm going to save this. And then I can go to my home page. I can click on blogs. And now it puts me into my new WordPress 3.0 installation. So this completes the upgrade process. If you have any questions along the lines, simply contact us through the support ticket system. Again, we can do the migrations for you for a fee, so you don't have to deal with this hassle. If you find a better way to do it, of course, we're all ears.